Well, hey, Goddesses and Adoni, and thank you for taking the time to tune in and watch this follow-up video. Earlier this week, Goddess Lindsay Beitman from Massachusetts was gracious with her time and shared her Facebook party methodology with the entire company. What a gift. Lindsay is here with me today, and she's here once again to devote time to sharing her success with all of you so that you may in turn become more successful. So welcome, Lindsay.
Hi.
You know, Lindsay, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to you. You're a busy, full-time, top 10 goddess with Athena's, and you still took time out of your very busy schedule to do this for Athena's. And I appreciate your time and your willingness to share what works for you.
Sure, anytime.
You had an incredible January with Facebook parties and outside orders that were so inspiring. You know, how did that make you feel to have such great results in January?
Well, it kind of wasn't an option for me not to do well in January because I'm full-time. So when I have cancellations, I have to be creative about how to generate sales so that I can pay my bills, because this is my only source of income at this point. So I had to think outside of the box and kind of figure out different things that I could try. And then whatever worked, I figured I'd just do again another time down the road. So it makes me feel I worked really hard and I'm proud of it. But it was a lot of work. I'll say that, but I feel good about it.
Well, that's how business works, right? The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And your Facebook party, I was there from the beginning to the end, 8 o'clock. I was there. I stayed with you till 8:51. I found your Facebook party to be very engaging with the things that you shared. It wasn't overwhelming. It was easy to understand what was going on. So I asked our Goddesses and Adoni not to post in your Facebook page and you know, just make that more complex. You know, I asked them to put all their questions in one space in the WOW page, and we got some great questions. Are you ready to tackle them?
Sure am.
Good. I put them in what I thought was a logical order. So we'll start with party preparation. So you have a lot of images that you put out in the party, not too many, but a good amount. How do you prep for your party? So, you know, prepping the images, knowing what order you're going to go in. How do you do that?
So to make it easier on myself, when I went full-time, I spent, a few hours getting all of my posts that I would ever want to use together. So it didn't take me a lot of time over a long period of time, but initially I just kind of banged out as many as I could using photos in the back office as suggestions. I used the product images that are in the folder, the blank ones with the silhouette. So I put those all in a folder in my phone. So all of them in the same place in one album. And then before I do a party, depending on who the hostess is, if it's a mystery hostess, if it's just for a friend, I then go through the album and pick out which ones I want to use for each party and make a new album and label it with the hostess's name. So that way, when I am doing the party, I don't have to go searching for images everywhere. They're all in one place. And unfortunately, there's no way to number them in an album on your phone, which I tried. So I tried to put them in the album in order, and it doesn't work. So if you wanted to, what I've done before is I've made like a sort of an outline on a piece of paper, just ironing out the gist of the order and what I'm talking about. And then you can kind of wing it from there.
Now, are you saying that you do this on your phone? Like you run the Facebook party from your phone?
Yeah, so I do everything from my phone. I have a laptop and the screen is cracked and I just never got it fixed. And I'm really familiar with the iPhone's operating system and an iPad. So I do literally everything from my phone.
Wow, it blows my mind. So you have a system. So you pick out the post that you're going to put into each party. Prior to the party, you create an album. You put those social media posts into the album, and then you have a piece of paper off to the side that has an outline. Do you type that up? Do you write it up? How does that work?
I actually usually don't do it. It's only for maybe like a party where there's a lot of people. I try to keep track so that I'm not, forgetting what I posted already. I also go in and delete them when I'm done. So during the party, once I post a few things, I'll take a little breather for a minute, go in and delete what I already used. That way it's less searching for me throughout the album. But I do write it by hand. I don't type because I don't use my laptop. So I don't really type anything. Okay. But it basically just says like, you know, welcome, hostess credits, like just lists out the different orders of ways I can post.
Smart. All right. Now let's talk about your posts. How do you create your social media posts and games? That was like the number one question. People wanted to know what software you were using and how you do it.
So I actually, Jess Carter, like 4 years ago, she used Canva like throughout the time she was a goddess. Mm-hmm. And I asked her the same question. And so I started using Canva about 4 years ago. So I did initially start using it as the site on my laptop, which is much easier than doing it tediously from your phone. But I started doing it that way. And basically, Canva offers graphics that are pre-made. So all you have to do, if you don't have a lot of time, is go in and just edit those pre-made graphics to suit whatever you are. But the other thing you can do is you can change the background of the graphic. You can add different borders, fonts. You can change everything. But some of them cost money. So what I normally do is I'll make a graphic, and if any aspect of it, even like the border, costs any money, I get rid of it, which you can delete it right from the photo you're creating. And then I'll maybe throw in something I saved on my phone, or I'll look for a free one. A lot of times with the background, I do that. So there are photos like of the ocean and things that you can use that are in Canva, but they will say like free or if they cost money. So I'll go on Google or in my own photos and then take something to use as the background and use that.
All right, that's smart. One of the things that I want to preface this with, this whole social media part that we're about to discuss, is that it's really important that you get permission. I see people grab things off Pinterest and they want it. I'm like, you can't just do that. You have to get permission from the original person. Like all of the social media graphics that we create, we buy all of those photos, because I think it was Angela James who said to me that one of her friends creates posts, so someone she knows creates posts, and they know that through the fines that are generated by people misusing the post, like they make a ton of money off that. So I just wanted to be very clear to all the goddesses and Adoni, do not just take posts off Pinterest. Do not take anything without permission. You know, do not just download images. You know, it's really important that you buy the things that you're using. And the other thing too is, I know that a lot of our goddesses and Adoni are not full-time. They go to school full-time. They work full-time. They have 7 kids, you know, and it's really hard for them to find this time to run a business and make all these posts. So I wanted to ask first, how long did it take you as a full-time goddess to create the posts that you used in the Facebook party that you did for us?
So before I even answer that, real quick to touch on, what I generally go by is I'll use a concept. Okay. So if I go on Pinterest or whatever and I see a game that I like, I then make it my own. Like the name something you can lick, I took that idea from something on Pinterest and made my own graphic. So you can take the concept, same with graphics that other goddesses make. You want to make sure that you're not just taking something they made. You want to make it your own and put your stamp on it. So it's kind of the same thing. So I would say when I went full time, it probably in a week, I probably got all of them done. And I probably dedicated like an hour or 2 a day. And I didn't do it every day. It was just kind of whenever I had time. One of my recruits, Katie, it took her probably 2 weeks to get all of hers done. And she, works maybe 1 hour a night or so. And she would just do that while she was watching television. A lot of times that's what I did while I was like watching a movie or something. I did it in my sort of free time. Mm-hmm. So, that's all I would suggest is, you want to work smarter, not harder. So if you do them all in the beginning, when you get the idea, this is what you want to do, rather than having to struggle the day of your party to have to make something, you already have it. Unless we get new products and then you make some new ones. But generally having them ahead of time is way easier.
Do you have a post for every single product on the Athena's line?
No, so almost. I did that on purpose. When I have time, if there's things that I don't have, I'll make one just in case a customer wants to see it. So I show things that I show in my demo in home parties, or things that I really like that I actually don't show. So I feel like Facebook parties give you an opportunity to show way more than you can afford to have in your demo necessarily. So especially if you're new, making those is free. So you can use those in events before an in-home party to sort of spark interest. You can use them in your Facebook parties. So the more you have, the better, because you don't have to spend any money to have them.
That's smart. And for those of you that don't want to create Canva posts, I mean, Athena's has so many, we have like this arsenal of social media posts right in the WOW page. And we're constantly adding to them with new products and booking posts and seasonal posts and recruiting posts. There's so much that's there already. So if you don't want to recreate the wheel and spend hours making your own posts, you don't have to. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. And the other thing too is not everybody's a marketing mind. Not everybody has the idea of color schemes and fonts, and it's really important that when you're taking this on, that you get feedback from others about the posts, because I know, I'm visually impaired. So when I see someone put black text over a black product, I can't read it. So it's really, really important that the font is big enough for people to read, that it's clear enough, and don't gunk up your social media posts with like all these different messages and all these different fonts, because it really gets confusing. I mean, when you're posting social media posts, your images have to be clean, so easy to read, so easy to get the gist of what's being said in the post, like what message you're trying to convey, because you have people for a second. If it's too much or it's a mess, people are just going to look away. So that's something to definitely keep in mind too. So I noticed that you posted like 3 images, like when you did internal, like you posted 3 different images. Is that how you usually do it? Like you'll put 3 internal toys together, 3 body eaters together. Is that how you find it keeps it more organized for people to look at them, rather than posting like every single product on its own?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a trial and error thing when you start doing this. I've done, I don't know how many Facebook parties that some were flops. Like I've just tried everything to try to see what works best, which is what I recommend in any aspect of your business. It's just right over and over and seeing what works. So in this case, it depends on the party. If I'm in a party and there's a lot of people engaging, I'll do 1 post at a time. If it's something where, there's 60 people in it and like 2 are really like liking posts and engaging, I'll put them all together just so that it's less time consuming for me and it's difficult for people who might be tuning in later. So generally, like most of what I post is the first night. So if people aren't on right when I'm doing it, and I try to get people to do that, I post a lot of reminders like it's tonight. I think it's easier for people who may have busy lives, who have kids, who have to cook dinner. It's easier for them to just go, I want an internal toy out of this, and then to find the group that's listed on internal instead of having to search through, hundreds of posts finding it. So it just depends on the group that I'm working with at the time.
It's smart because, I mean, and again, I've seen albums where people post like 17 items in the album. So, Facebook only shows you 3 posts and then the plus sign, plus 14 other images, and that, again, like, are people going to click on that and look at each one individually? I just think, just like when you do your demo, you don't want to overwhelm people. So showing just a few items together group was really smart. And again, it kept me very engaged and it was very easy to follow. So kudos to you on keeping that. And like you said, it's trial and error. Like you just like when you do live parties, you just don't know what's going to go over, and what goes over in one group may not go over in another. So it's all about, staying the course, because I've heard people say, oh, I did a Facebook party, it was a flop, and then they never do another one. And like with anything, repetition creates mastery. The more you do it, the better you get. So for all of you who've done one Facebook party and then thrown the towel in, try it again, because Lindsay demonstrated how easy it is, how effective it is, and you can't argue with her numbers. So let's talk about party structure, the party itself. So people wanted to know why you choose a group over an event page. Can you tell us why?
Sure. So I I choose groups because I do events for in-home parties where guests can RSVP. And I find that the hostess and I are like begging people to RSVP towards the last few days who have seen the event and not responded. So for me, in my mind, as much as I hate being invited to groups without permission, I figure if my friend is inviting me, so the hostess is inviting her friends to this party, if they don't want to be there, I give them the option to leave. I would rather them be in there and be surprised, like, oh, I didn't know this was the kind of party I was in, or I didn't know that, you know, Athena's had spa products. I just would rather they be there and see what I'm posting. And if it's not for them, they can leave. And I literally tell them how. So if their hostess invites them and they're kind of like, yeah, not for me, they can leave.
Yeah, it's smart. Love that. How long before the party date do you set up the group?
Typically, I make them 3 to 4 days prior. I feel like it depends. If it's a mystery hostess party, like the ones where my sales are usually high, I'll do that like on Blitz Day. I start telling people I'm doing a mystery hostess party and I make the group right away. If it's for a hostess, I make it 3 to 4 days ahead because I feel like if I I think about what I would do in these situations. So if I got invited to like a LuLaRoe party and the girl was posting every day for 2 weeks, I would shut the notifications off and leave. I just would lose interest, or I'd forget. So in this case, when I'm like, in 3 days, we're going to do this awesome party, people I feel like are more apt to tune in for something that's not super scheduled far out in advance, that I'm bothering them with posts constantly. The other thing I didn't mention the reason I also do a group is because if you have less than 250 people in a group, you can see who is actually viewing what you're posting. So instead of me posting to like dead air, I can see at least there's 3 people that are watching. Like I know how many people are there. So that's the other reason why I choose groups.
Smart. So how do you get people interested in hosting a Facebook party in the first place?
I actually try to convince people to do in-homes. Obviously, that's my first objective, is an in-home. But when I get a lot of times, girls will say, I'm just too busy for an in-home, which I understand when people say things like that. I just want to be like, it's so much fun to have me come to your house. I wish you would do it. But if they really won't budge, then I'll say, well, why don't we do it online? So for example, today, a girl, Ashley, who I know, messaged me back when I asked her about booking, and she said, I have my daughter's first birthday party this month. I'm way too busy. And she said, do you do them online? And I was like, yep. So that's kind of what I go for. In terms of mystery hostess online parties, I message everyone. Like every one of my customers, I tell them on Blitz Day, if I'm doing one that month, I'm doing a mystery hostess party on the 16th. Do you want me to add you? And I psych it up. Like we have new stuff. I have new games. So you try to generate interest by contacting people individually. I can't stress that enough. I used to just post about it and I maybe got like 5 or 6 people to join because of posts. Really, it's the individual reaching out.
Yeah, that is absolutely what it is. I think that having your hostesses on your side, you know, adding people and getting excited about the party, that's what makes it. And I love that you have the option now of a Facebook party. Years ago, we didn't have the option of a Facebook party. And so it's a curse and a blessing in some ways, you know, because of course we love the face-to-face interaction, but you can have great Facebook parties. If you're someone who wants to hustle, you can make it happen. And I know that when it snows in New England and, you know, everyone was all excited and now, you know, it's canceled. That's another option too, you know, because everyone was going to be there. Everyone was excited for it. So a Facebook party is a great option in the winter if it snows, you know. I'm glad that we have that now. So someone asked, what if you have someone that wants a Facebook party, but they don't have a lot of Facebook friends? What is your answer to that?
So something that I do when a hostess books a Facebook party, I have a graphic that I made on Canva that lists, it's like a hostess packet for a Facebook host. So basically it sums up like, you know, how to be the online hostess with the mostest. Number 1, please be online for an hour the night of the party. That's all I ask them to do besides add friends. It's just that. And then it says, when you add people, add as many people as you possibly can. Add everyone. And if people want to leave, I tell them how. So there's no reason why you feel you only can invite 10. You could invite, you know, your family, hostess coaching, like invite your family, your friends, your coworkers, you know, any suggestions I have for them. And then it also says that when they're online on the night of the party, they need to be engaged. So that's also how I generate interest, is if the hostess is not online, they always tag. If the hostess is in the party and she's actively like, I love Supreme Cream, or I have this toy and it's awesome, that's helpful for other people to see that, and that generates interest.
Yeah, having the hostess present is like, if she's not there, it's just like if you go to someone's house and the hostess isn't there, oh no. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So how do you decide? You mentioned it earlier that, you figure out what you're going to show. What is the deciding factor? How do you decide which items you want to show during a Facebook party?
I mean, it's kind of the same as how you would choose what you want to show in your demo. You show what you love. So as much as Facebook parties are way easier to share way more of what Athena's has to offer, because you don't have to spend the time explaining each item, I don't want to overwhelm people with the entire catalog as much as I wish. And I say it at in-home parties, I wish I could show you everything. I just am picking out the things that are dear to me. So I guess depending on the hostess, I have girls who live in Maine who host Facebook parties. And if they've had one recently, or if they've been in one recently, I try to be conscious of who's seen certain things 5 times. So I usually show the lady boner in my demo, and I did it online for a while, but I realized that some of the girls who were booking off of other Facebook parties have already seen that. So I try to change it up based on who's in it. And I also show what I sell. I mean, the things that I always post about, like the womanizer to go, I can sell those easily because it speaks for itself, but I post reviews and things. So whatever you're like really passionate about is what you want to show.
Yes. Are your Facebook parties the same every time? Like, meaning you have the structure, like you do that Facebook Live, then you do your products, and then you do another Facebook Live before the toys, and then you do the toys and then wrap things up? Or do you mix it up? Do you put toys in the front ever and spa products in the back? Do you mix it up, or is it generally the same outline?
Generally it's the same outline. I always start with the spa, just like I do at an in-home party, depending on again, if someone said this group is really rowdy and they just want to see toys, obviously I would accommodate the hostess. But generally I don't even do live videos sometimes. To be honest, when I started doing these, I never did live videos. I only did product posts, and I did all right. Yep. I did a lot more of them than I'm doing now. Now I push more in-home than Facebook, obviously, but because I'm full-time. But I think generally, like when it comes to, the format, you can do the whole thing live if you want to. I don't do the whole thing live because I feel like, again, I look at it from my own perspective. If I was invited to a Facebook party and someone did an hour-long video, I wouldn't watch it. And I have all the time in the world to do it, and I still wouldn't. I would rather, like when I'm in Scentsy parties or whatever, I'll scroll through and see what photos are there, and that's what I gravitate towards. So I'll do like a short video to introduce myself usually, but the rest of it, I usually just do product posts. Now and then when we have something like the bombshell that's easy to demonstrate, I've been doing that with an actual fishbowl, and I've put the toy into the fishbowl and like showed everyone how it works. When you have something that you're really passionate about or that's easy to demonstrate live, totally do it. But I preferably just go for posts because I spent so much time making them. But you could do the whole thing live if you want.
You sure could. So how do you determine what is too much or not enough for your party guests? Like I thought it would, like 51 minutes was perfect. I mean, I was engaged. I never got bored. How do you determine how much you show during that time?
So it depends on how many people are engaged. So even prior to the party, if no one is liking, after I post, you will earn points if you like A, B, and C. If no one's doing it, I usually don't post as much as I would if there was like 7 people that are really actively excited about it. So I still put all of the graphics into an album. And then as I'm going through the party, if I realize there's not much activity, I'll shorten the amount that I'm posting just for my own benefit so that I'm not wasting time. None of it's really wasting time. You're still putting your name out there and people are seeing that what you do. But for me, in terms of being full-time, I try to keep business hours. And if I notice that it's not really going anywhere, I'll limit it.
Okay. Your party did go by quickly, and is that normal, 51 minutes? Like, is that just the normal length?
Typically, yeah. I usually, like I said, I send the hostess that graphic that says I need you to be online for an hour. I feel like asking people who are not having people to their house for a party to be on their phone straight for over an hour is unlikely, especially when it's 8 o'clock at night, usually on a weeknight. I usually don't do Facebook parties on weekends because I try to book in-homes, unless I have like a special request for it. So on weeknights around 8 or 7 o'clock when I'm doing these, people have kids, you know, their spouses are coming home from work. They have other things that they're doing, feeding their dog, you know, whatever, homework. And I don't want to take up too much of someone's time from home like that. I also feel like after an hour, I would lose interest. If it was more than that, I would kind of like just check back later just to see what else was going on. But I wouldn't stay like totally focused for more than an hour because I have a short attention span. But that's just me.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's just you. I think that's everybody now. Phones have done that to us for sure. So you only did 2 live videos and people wanted to know why. Why only 2?
Again, I just feel like when I'm less likely to watch a video than I am to scroll through a party, even when I don't have kids. I mean, my fiance and I will be watching a movie and I'll get on my phone and someone invited me to something and I'll look through and I try to place orders with direct sales people as much as possible because I know that that's how they make their income. Right. So if it invites me to one of those, I'm into it, but I just personally don't watch videos if they're over 2 or 3 minutes long. I just would rather read than actually hear someone talking online like that. In person is different. But I mean, I've done parties where I've done 3 live videos. And then if it snows out, I do the whole party live, depending on if I have a hostess tell me that she doesn't want, you know, to have people drive to her home. I'll set up a table, put all my stuff on it, prop my phone up and do the whole thing. So I guess it just depends on what the hostess wants and, you know, what their time constraints are. But I really don't do a lot of live stuff. I know a lot of people have really great success with doing that. I just, you know, fix what's not broken. So that's what I stick.
It's what works for you, Lindsay. And I really appreciate you sharing that because it's just going to inspire people to try something different, especially the people that don't do Facebook parties. I know in my team, there's some old school goddesses who've been around a long time who are extremely intimidated by doing Facebook parties because they love what they do. They go into people's homes and, you know, this is just a new avenue. And I think that you made it very easy and doable for anybody at any level of skill. So thanks for that. So now when you post, you posted primarily on the day of the party. Before the party, like, do you post a lot on the page? So it's like 3 or 4 days, you said. So what types of posts do you put up prior to the party?
So I wait until the day I make the group, I message the hostess and tell her I made it. Please add your friends. If they don't do it the day I make it, I push the party out another day because I think people need at least 3 or 4 days before they're actually in this group and they know what's going on. So up until the party, I post once or twice a day. The party's in 3 days, and then I'll post like, we have a fantastic spa line, or just like 2 different things, once in the morning generally, and then once at night. So if people aren't available in the morning, they might see the notification later and scroll down and see the other one. And then I usually post the graphic about participation points ahead because I feel like that engages people to actually pay attention. When they see prize, they're like, so that's usually, I mean, that's me. If someone said, if you like all this stuff, I will maybe give you a prize, I'd do it, you know? So as soon as I make the group, that's one of the first things I post. And I also post a graphic about, I didn't do it in ours because everyone knows what an Athena's party is, but I have a graphic that explains what the point of having an Athena's party is and why I love what I do. Kind of like that, why I do Athena's parties graphic I posted. It's similar to that, only it kind of breaks down what an in-home party is like, so people have an idea. So that always goes up before the party too.
So do you have people that have Facebook parties have guests that book live parties with you? Has that happened?
Yeah, it has. It doesn't happen as frequently, but when people message me to place their orders, I always ask them, do you maybe want to think about having your own? And I ask where they live before I take their order. And if they live within an hour of me, I will recommend an in-home. But if they don't want to do it, of course, I'll do a Facebook party. But it doesn't happen as often as I'd like, but it does happen.
So do you see more Facebook parties being booked off Facebook parties than live?
I do. I did like 4 Facebook parties a week when I went full time because I knew I had to generate something and I couldn't book parties all week long. I just found I weren't wanting to. So I did a ton, and I had some that were duds and, you know, some where the sales were pretty low. So I kind of stopped doing them as frequently for a while. But now I do them for people who live out of state or over an hour from me, or people who really just don't have time. And I found that because I'm doing them less frequently, the sales have gone up. I feel like when I was doing too many, I wasn't really into it. Like I kind of just did it because I needed income. And now I actually like am enjoying it more than I did before. So I feel like people notice that, like they see that I'm making my own stuff, my labels on them. I'm passionate about these things. And that's what really makes people want to book the Facebook party. I've seen recruits of mine have made Facebook parties and they'll screenshot the catalog. And I'm like, no. Okay, like you have to make this personal about you and you have to stand out. And if you do, people will want to book with you just like they would as an in-home party. It's the same thing. You want to make yourself memorable.
You know, you mentioned a lot about raffle tickets and points and prizes, so I have lots of questions about that. So people wanted to know, how many raffle ticket winners are there in your Facebook parties?
So for the raffle, there's one.
One. Okay. What prize do you give for that?
So it really, I mean, whether you're independent or freedom, because I'm independent, but I do want to say, like, I have girls on my team that are freedom. And some of the things that I suggest to them are similar to this. So if you go to the BBW and they're scratch and dent, take advantage of scratch and dent. Like all of those things, you know, Pedicure Miracle, the last time I went was $4 because we were discontinuing it and people really like that. So if you have one of those on hand, it only costs you $4 and you can give it away as a prize. So things like that I'll keep. So even if you're freedom, you can still do it. You'll have to ship it separately to the customer. But there's nothing wrong with sending something like that with a note like, congrats, you won. Like people want to see things like personal things. So even if you're freedom, you can still do it. So I do like, I got some stuff at Scratch and Dent last time. There were like some Christmas ornament shaped toys that I did in December for Facebook parties. I gave one of those away and I think it cost me $4 or $5. Anything I have in stock, or you could do a gift code. Like you could say, you know, you get a $15 gift code to use with me next time or whatever. You can, there's a lot of different ways you can do it.
Yeah, for sure. So now when it comes to winners, do you actually write their names on like tickets, or do a generator on your phone and then just do a screenshot and show, or do you write the names on the tickets and then put them in a bowl and show everybody and then pull a name? How does that work?
So for the raffle, I actually write their names on tickets because the raffle entries are harder to obtain than the participation points. So for raffle tickets, I only give tickets out if they're my friend on Facebook, they get one. If they order anything under $50, they get one. If they order over 50, they get two. And if it's over 100, they get four. If they add friends on Facebook, it doesn't matter how many friends they add. If they add them to the group, they get one. So if they add 20 people or one, it makes no difference. So that's all they can do to get into the raffle. So it's easy to write those names on an actual ticket. You could do it like on a piece of paper and put them in a hat, whatever, if you don't have tickets around. Like there's, or you could do the generator. I have done that name generator thing online before.
So the raffle tickets and the points are two different things. So so that was the raffle part. How do you keep, so what do people do to earn points, and how do you keep track of the points, and then what do you give away for the points?
And so one more thing about the raffles, I do a live video to announce the raffle winner. So that souped up. I say I'm going live at 6 p.m. to announce that, so people will, you know, tune in and watch that. For points, if a guest likes something, if they comment on something, especially like why they like a product, that's huge. Like I always ask people to do that. If they play a game, if they ask a question, either privately or in the group, and that can be about anything, about my business, a product, how long I've been a goddess, it doesn't matter. And then if they add 3 friends, they get 5 points. If they book an in-home, it's 20, and a Facebook party, it's 10. So what I'll do on the last day of the party, I tally those up, which is a pain in the butt, but it takes me like an hour sometimes to do that. I'll total them all up, and then I actually post a photo of what I tallied up so people can see how active they really were in perspective to other people. And then I tag them using their first name. So usually for points, it depends on how many people are active. If there's like only 3 people that are really engaging, I'll pick one winner. If there's 15, I'll do 3 to 5. It just depends on what's going on. And those people I tag, like, we have a winner. And then I tag those people and I tell them publicly what they won so that other people see that and go, oh, I want to have a party and maybe win that or whatever. It just helps with engagement.
That's great. So the raffle winner, you do a live video, and for the point people, you tag them their first name. That's good. So they can see, it's all about people seeing themselves, and people love, it's like the narcissist in all of us. We want to see ourselves, our names, in these groups, we want to see ourselves winning. So that's a smart way to do it. Here's a great question. How do you know who adds people to give them those 5 extra points?
And the other reason why I announce the winners publicly too is that the hostess sees it.
Yeah.
So the host will know, oh, so-and-so like placed an order. Like I also do that when people place an order. If I ask their permission in a message, can I tag you? And then I'll go tag them. And the hostess says, thank you so much. It's like nice that the hostess knows who's helping them out.
Sure.
To find out who added people in a group, all you do is you go to info and then you click members. And when you scroll down, you can see who added who. So all you have to, it only takes a few minutes, but all you have to do is just scroll through and see, like, Jane Doe added 6, and then you write, not even their names, just the number, and then you know how many tickets or points to give them.
Okay. Do you get any negative feedback from people being added to the group? Like, have you ever had anybody upset because they got added to the group, or did they just leave? And
So no one's ever said anything to me or to the hostess before, to my knowledge anyway. What I tell hostesses generally is when they add people, they should expect a few people to leave. It just, they'll either get annoyed with the notifications from the night of the party, or it's just not their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I do warn them about it. And I can tell, like, when I start posting, if there's like 75 people in a group, I'll see that it goes down to like 72. And then it goes down to like 69, but it really doesn't go very low at all. I've never had everyone leave or anything like that happen, but no one's ever been like, why am I here? So don't be afraid of that.
Do you encourage your hostesses to actually reach out personally to their friends and say, hey, I'm having this party, I'm going to add you to this group? Do you encourage them to do that? Or do you just say, just add?
So I do. On the day of the party, I have her share the group on her own Facebook page, and write like a little blurb about, this is going to be so fun. If you weren't invited and you want to join, like, please tune in. So that way, even people who got the notification that they were added to the group, who may have been at work and not seen it at like 7 o'clock, an hour before the party, if they're on Facebook, which a lot of people are at that time of night, they'll see it and then go, oh yeah, that's right. Or they'll add themselves. I've had that happen too, where people that the hostess wouldn't expect will be in it have been in it, and they've placed big orders because they didn't know anything about the party until she posted it.
That's a good pointer for sure. Because for me personally, like events and groups that I get added to and invited to, like I get so many that it's overwhelming. I don't even look at it. So I think having the hostess post on her Facebook is really smart. And also asking people, if I was going to have a Facebook party, I'd reach out to my 10 people that I love the most and be like, hey, I'm doing this, so that way they would know for sure. So that's a good way to go about doing it. So as far as the ordering goes, now you're an independent goddess, you're not Freedom. And that was, I could see people asking, are you into your Freedom? Why is the ordering this way? Why, so some of the questions that we had was, do guests call you to give you their orders while you're still posting? And you don't post your website, why? So let's start with, do guests call you? Do they Facebook you? How does that work as an indie goddess?
So in a Facebook party, I post 20 times, like, message me to place your order. So when they message me, the reason I do that and not put my website out is, even if I was Freedom, and I have girls on my team who are Freedom, and I tell them the same thing with a mystery hostess party or a Facebook party, have the customer message you, because as humans, like, we're looking for a bargain. So as soon as I go to a website, the first thing I look at is clearance, and the hostess won't get credit on clearance, and I don't want her to suffer because of that. So not only am I trying to avoid customers going straight for clearance, but the other reason I do it is because I want the consultation piece of it. So when they message me, if they have, you know, let's say they have the Anastasia on their list. I want the Anastasia. So I say to them, what do you like about tell me what you're looking for and what you like about that. And then you can upsell them. So if they're stuck on the Anastasia, you can say, well, the mission control has 20 functions and it's rechargeable. And these are the benefits of that. Like any of these things, or like if someone wants Supreme cream, they don't know what these smell like. So if you say to them, what scent Supreme would you like? And they go, oh, what do you have? And you go, oh, well, there's icing on the cake and pear berry. What does that smell like? So on and so forth. Just having them message you. If I was Freedom, I would have them message me and then I would go and put their orders in for them, or you could send them to the website, whatever you want to do. But at least you're sending them with like an upsell sort of idea of what they're looking for, as opposed to them just winging it on their own.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that with us. Facebook jail was also a question that people ask. You know, do you get thrown in Facebook jail a lot?
I've only been in Facebook jail one time, and it was right when I went full time. And it was because when a hostess made an event for her party, an in-home party, I would message all of the guests like, hi, have you ever been to a party before? And then after I talked to Chrissy Shedd, I was like, oh, instead of doing that, I'm going to have people add me first. And then when you message them, it doesn't flag as you being like a creeper. It flags as you being friends with these people already. So I've never been in Facebook jail for anything other than that. And I was really messaging like 100 people a day. So that was the problem. But no, not for posting in these groups or anything. Never.
Good. What do you do with the group after the party closes?
It depends on how many people are in it. So with the one that I made for Goddesses and Adoni, I'm going to archive it so that people have the opportunity to look at it later, or you can still send your team there. Like if you recruit someone in 2 months, you can still have them go check it out if they want to. If the party has less than 100 people in it, I'll delete the group myself, which is tedious, but I do it to clear space on my own Facebook. It just bothers me. You don't have to ever delete them. You can leave them there, you know, and they'll just be in Facebook space. But for me, if there's less than 100, to delete people, you have to go in and click info, members, and then one by one delete people, and delete yourself last. That's the important part. When you do that, because you created it, it will ask you if you want to delete the group or not. It sucks having to do that. Like I get it. But for me, it's just easier. But again, you can go on the website, Facebook desktop website, and you can archive all of those. I don't think you can archive them from your phone, but I do everything from my phone. So I got to figure it out.
And our final question, you ready? Do you make a group for your live parties too?
No, I don't. And I've thought about it. I've really been thinking maybe I should try this, and I may do it. I have a friend who booked a party. Typically my parties aren't with my friends. They're with like strangers or people that I meet at parties. I've already exhausted them from doing parties over the past 5 years. Right. So one of my friends is doing it, and I thought about maybe making a group for her in home just to see if that was a better outcome. But if you're hostess coaching, I took a lot of tips from Chrissy about hostess coaching, and I've watched some videos like Carrie Sellers in the back office and figured out what works for me hostess coach wise. And I haven't had trouble with events for in-home parties recently, but before I did any research, I wasn't doing enough hostess coaching and I wasn't getting the attendance that I wanted. But now with those tips, I don't think I need the group, but I may try it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. This has been so informative, Lindsay. I mean, you answered everyone's questions, and, you know, I hope that everyone feels more confident to do Facebook parties and try this new and income stream, you know, because if you can't leave the house for whatever reason, or your hostesses can't leave their houses or can't accommodate a home party, this is another avenue for you to create income for your life. So thank you again, Lindsay, for sharing so selflessly. And thank you to everyone for watching. We're going to give you a golden circle point for being part of this thought-provoking video call with Lindsay. So there's a submission form. It's the first comment underneath this thread. So I would like you to go and click on the submission form and enter the code word Lindsay Rules. LINDSAY. RULES, Lindsay rules. And we look forward to your feedback on this call. And, you know, the Golden Circle Point is fabulous because it leads you into the Golden Circle in September, which is an event you do not want to miss. So any final words, Lindsay?
No, good luck. And if anyone has any questions, I already spoke to people. If you want to message me, feel free. If I didn't cover something that you're curious about, I'm around. So let me know.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. You have till Monday, February. What is Monday? Monday is February 5th. Monday, February 5th. You have till then to send in your submission form with the code words Lindsay Rules, and we will give you your Golden Circle Point. So thanks again, everybody, for watching, and thanks, Lindsay, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.